So lads, I just doing a quick video there just to show what I've learned so far with the module and as well just the moto. So I started back in the 7th of February, just kind of researching gears and things like that. So I started with helical gears. I don't know how I stumbled upon them on, I don't know, it was on YouTube or something. Then I just came to realise with the feedback from Adrian O'Connor and Brian that it wasn't actually possible to make the helical gears on the CNC router, the laser cutter, as they only operate on a single vertical feed. Moving on from that, then in the lecture, we just kind of started doing a few crazy designs and things. I moved on from those and went to researching around the brief. So I didn't try to focus too much on Menlo Park, as I didn't think that was as important as the other aspects of the brief. So I kind of focused more on the dynamic thinking part, and as well just focusing on this as an award for a junior cycle student. There are just some more crazy ideas that I kind of sketched. I then kind of went into thinking of designing a dynamo. I saw Chris Dooley had one, and I was doing some research on Edison, and he had something similar. That was one of my ideas, but I just kind of moved away from that again. It seemed too complicated for me, to be honest. Then part of one of my designs was gluing MDF and acrylic together. I did a good bit of research in that, and further up here you can see I also made a quick video on I did an experiment on it, and that went fairly well, but it's become redundant now for myself. It may be relevant for someone else, but I'm not going to be gluing that anymore. In terms of the modelling, the cardboard modelling, I found it very effective. The first thing I learned was that my design was totally out. It was too big. It wasn't in proportion. The next thing I found is that I didn't really learn anything about my gears, my mechanisms in it. So basically it was good for just the proportion side of the project. And then I moved on to some just colours. I spent a good bit of time on the colour wheel that Brian introduced to us in the lectures. I kind of went to the quadratic style, so it's 4 different colours that are directly crossing each other. My parametric modelling then, I found that very effective for my gears. I used Joe Morgan's video it helped me get my head around how to change the size of the gears, the modulus and all that. That was a very big part for me. I spent a lot of time modelling gears. Gear calculations then was another part that I spent a good bit of time on. Just calculating the speed, because I have a few different size gears, so I just wanted to work out what speed they were going to be rotating at. Some problem solving then was making cams. So basically I started with just a sketch, general idea. We did it in TechCraft, so it wasn't too bad. I knew what movement I wanted, so I started my displacement diagram. Then I moved on to SolidWorks, made it up a quick sketch, and extruded the shape to make my cam. Then moving upwards, I finished my parametric modelling, which I thought was very effective for figuring out the mechanisms. I learnt a lot there with mechanical mates and that, with gears and with the cam. And then, as you can see, my colour scheme, which I mentioned earlier, with the 4 colours, the quadratic effect. And then that's my PhotoView 360. I just wanted to get a more realistic view of what it looked like. It was very easy from my parametric modelling to produce some working drawings. I just wanted to kind of thought up all the material I had, how many parts I had and how they're going to go together, just myself in my own head. And then I wanted to make my wall personal, so I decided to put my name in it. Originally this piece was supposed to be brass. We'll get to that in a further on post. My light bulb then consists of 6 LEDs. To produce this shape on SolidWorks, I did a simple sketch picture, which is very effective. You basically sketch around the picture and I extruded the shape. I have 6 LEDs then. Before I cut this out in the laser cutter, I just drilled 2 holes in some hardboard to see what size the LEDs will fit in. Diameter 4 and diameter 5. The diameter 5 one was a perfect fit, so I went with that. So that was just a bit of research I did before I went into the laser cutter. I then started spraying one of my pieces just to kind of test, see what it would look like. I realised from this that when sanding the end grain and the MDF that you really have to put a lot of time and effort into it. I didn't sand this as much as I should have, and from the results I could see that, you know, it wasn't as smooth as it should have been. So I actually learned a lot from that activity. I spent one morning last week with Seamus Harold, sorry, and I went to him about engraving on brass. He told me that we weren't actually able to engrave brass in the laser cutter, so I've gone back to MDF. He showed me just how to mess around with different size texts, different styles. So this is the kind of look I'm going to be going with. Then moving on again, I came across a problem on the laser cutter that my gears were being cut out at an angle, so that it didn't really matter for the teeth, but for the actual shaft they were rotating like a buckled alloy on a car. So I came across a problem with that, so what I ended up doing was clamp it to the base of the pillar drill and just drill it by hand. So that worked very well for me. I solved that problem this week. I did a lot of work then on spraying. So basically I started with my base piece and I really sanded this very well. Sprayed 3 coats of the primer and the sealer and filled in the gaps with the filler. So I think that was kind of beneficial to everyone because it was kind of the first time they saw how well the MDF could be finished. And then that's just the finish of it there as well. As you can see, it was my first inning, so there's a few parts and I could have been improved on, but I was generally happy with that. Moving on up then, just last night I put up a video about how spraying and finishing the MDF. Over all this week now, I've had a lot of people asking me how I got such a good finish. So to be honest, I was just kind of sick of telling the same story to everyone, so I made a quick video there last night just to explain everything to them. So that's basically my story in Edmodo so far.